12 months ago, Whipr, the at-home portable fitness device, was first released. I've had mine for about a year now, and this is my full review on the Whipr home fitness system. And here it is, set up as a rowing machine. They make some big claims. They say it can be used as a rower, they say it can be used as a skier, they say it can be used for stand-up paddleboarding. And here I am, a year later, with my Whipr, going to give it the full rundown. So, here is the rowing setup. It's broken apart into many different pieces. So, this neck piece here comes detached from the slide rail, which breaks up into two parts. The feet come off, the foot holders come off, the handle fully detaches, so it does break down to be a pretty small unit. However, if you're trying to put this in a suitcase, it's enormous. It'll take up the better part of your suitcase. I have never traveled with my rowing setup. And that second piece is the ski accessory, which folds up exceedingly small. It's about the size of my hand, and I've traveled with this lots. And I've been super happy with this ski accessory. It is a fabulous workout, upper body dominant, but also works your lower body while also being super portable. So I've taken this piece, accessory, along with the base unit, with me to many hotels and on vacations and away with me, because unlike the rower, it fits pretty nicely into a backpack and still provides an excellent workout when I'm traveling. So back in the day when I used to compete as a rower, I used the Concept 2 machine a lot, especially in Canada, where it's often too cold to go for rows outside or too dark. So I spent a lot of time on the Concept 2 row erg, which is, by all accounts, the gold standard for rowing machines. So how does the Whipr compare to the Concept 2? So by comparison, the Concept 2 uses a big fan, and by rowing you spin up the big fan. The faster the fan moves, the harder it is to pull, creating sort of like a stepped resistance. The Whipr itself uses a planetary gearbox, which, while providing resistance, doesn't provide the smooth curve of resistance you get from the Concept 2. Which begs the next question. Is the Whipr able to provide enough resistance for most people? And the answer to that question is yes. If you are a rower, you see many people at the gym using rowers incorrectly. They sit on the machine, they put the resistance up to 10, and they haul on the handle, and you know that that's wrong, and you sort of watch them flail about on the machine. If you are using this machine, or you're using the Concept 2 machine correctly, you never have the resistance up at 10. You always have something a little lower. And while this doesn't provide as much resistance, I find at between 8 and 10, it's more than enough for somebody like me and somebody at my fitness level. If you are a super elite rower or a competitive rower on a national team, this will still probably provide enough resistance for you, just not for sprinting. In order to get enough resistance from this tiny little box, you have to double up. So you attach it at a point there and through a pulley wheel here. And by having that doubler to double your resistance, it means it has to retract that much cord as well. So it has to retract twice as much cord every time you pull compared to a more traditional rowing machine, which will just use the single chain. What that means is that, unlike a more traditional rowing machine, this will not be great at sprinting. As soon as you get your stroke rate above 24 to 26 strokes a minute, this thing really starts to struggle to retract this rope fast enough in order to keep up with the higher stroke rates. That said, as a aging, non-professional athlete anymore, I find that this machine is fabulous if you're doing 10, 15, 20 minute workouts. It will really struggle if you try and sprint full speed. If you try to do a 500 meter or a 100 meter sprint, this machine will probably get choked up on itself because it cannot retract the cable fast enough to keep up with your stroke rate. Now, the purchase of the ski accessory here was sort of something I did on a whim. I thought, hey, maybe I'll give it a try. It's not too expensive. I've already bought the row accessory, so let's give the ski a try. And this has been the revelation of the Whipr for me. The rowing accessory does. So is it hard enough? I find for me, once again, if you're doing those longer steady state pieces, it's great. If you're doing a steady state 15-20 minute workout, it's more than enough. I got my wife, who is not an athlete, to try it. After about 30 seconds, she said it was too easy. After a minute, she said it was too hard. A couple minutes after that, she said she was probably going to throw up. So it is more than capable for most people, unless, of course, you are an elite athlete. That said, if you are traveling and you're an elite athlete, you will appreciate the need for a piece of equipment that allows you to stay fit, even when you don't have access to all the equipment you do at home. In summary, is what's good about the Whipr and what's bad about the Whipr. The pros are it is super portable. It is very small. I can pack it away with me. Eagle-eyed viewers will have noticed that I'm actually filming all of my videos from inside my son's room. So I'm able to pack up the rowing accessory, sort of tuck it off into corners into the closet, and put it away so that he can have his room back when I'm finished. And that is really helpful because a Concept 2 machine would take up an enormous amount of space. It's also really great because I have the ski accessory that I can use, I have the row accessory that I can use. I can get different types of workouts depending on how I feel that day, depending on what my psychology and what can motivate me to start the workout. The downsides of the Whipr is you can't do any sprint workout on it, anything with really high intensity. The machine just isn't capable of keeping up. The resistance of the planetary gearbox and from the magnets is nowhere near as good as you'll get from the big fan, but the advantage of that is you're not going to have the same amount of noise as you have from the Concept 2 fan. So there you have it. That's the Whipr. If you enjoyed this review, feel free to like and leave a comment. If you have something else you want me to review or want me to discuss, also feel free to leave a comment. Thank you very much.